as we uncover the story of Ambrogio, the Vampire King, the first vampire in history. So, grab a seat, turn off the lights, and let's step into the darkness together. Welcome to the dark side. Do vampires really exist? Throughout history, tales of bloodthirsty creatures lurking in the shadows have sent chills down our spines. These stories, whispered in the dark, were told to frighten and to fascinate. But what if I told you these legends might hold a grain of truth? Let's uncover the spine-chilling history and haunting mysteries of vampires. The legend of vampires stretches back thousands of years into the heart of ancient civilizations. The first documented vampire-like creatures appeared in Mesopotamian folklore, but these weren't the elegant vampires we see in modern fiction. They were grotesque demons that drank human blood. They roamed the night, attacking travelers, draining their life force. In ancient Greece, the tales of the Lamia emerged, a monster cursed to drink the blood of children. Some say she was once a beautiful queen, transformed into a predator by the wrath of the gods. Across cultures, these stories served as warnings. Don't wander alone after dark. But it was in Eastern Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries that the concept of vampires, as we know them, began to take shape. These weren't romantic figures. They were horrifying beings, rising from their graves to terrorize the living. In villages, unexplained deaths and mysterious illnesses were often blamed on the undead. People were so terrified, they dug up bodies and performed strange rituals, desperate to ensure the dead wouldn't return. Even the word vampire has an eerie ring to it. It comes from the Slavic term vampir, meaning to drink, a fitting name for creatures so closely tied to blood and death. Who was the first vampire? According to ancient myths, the title of Vampire King belongs to Ambrogio, a tragic figure from Greek mythology. Ambrogio's story is one of love, betrayal, and darkness. He was a mortal man who fell deeply in love with a maiden named Selene. Their love was pure, but fate had other plans. Ambrogio angered Apollo, the god of the sun, who cursed him so that sunlight would burn his flesh. Desperate, Ambrogio sought help from Hades, the god of the underworld, and Artemis, the goddess of the moon. But the gods are rarely kind. In exchange for his soul, Ambrogio gained immortality, but at a cost. He could never walk in the daylight, and he would be consumed by an unquenchable thirst for blood. Thus, Ambrogio became the first vampire, cursed to wander the earth, eternally seeking his next victim. This tale isn't just a story, it's a warning, a dark reminder of how love and desperation can lead to eternal damnation. As centuries passed, vampire stories spread across Europe. In the 18th century, vampire panics swept through villages. People reported seeing dead relatives rise from their graves. Entire families were accused of vampirism, and hysteria consumed entire towns. Bodies were exhumed. Strange rituals were performed. Some corpses were stacked, others burned, all in a desperate attempt to stop the spread of this terrifying plague. Science later suggested that these panics may have been caused by diseases like tuberculosis. Victims appeared pale, weak, and sometimes coughed up blood. But to villagers, with no understanding of disease, these symptoms seemed like signs of vampirism. Vampires are no ordinary creatures. Their powers are both terrifying and captivating. In folklore, they are said to shapeshift into bats, wolves, or even mist, to stalk their prey, hypnotize victims, leaving them unable to resist, heal rapidly from injuries, making them nearly impossible to kill, live forever, staying young while centuries pass. But their most fearsome power is their hunger. Vampires drink blood to survive. They savor it. It's said that the blood of the living is like a drug to them, filling them with strength and ecstasy. Imagine walking alone at night, feeling eyes on you from the shadows. A figure steps forward, their face pale, their eyes glowing with hunger. That's the fear vampires bring, the sense that you could be next. Despite their power, vampires are not invincible. They have weaknesses, and knowing these might save you. Sunlight, the ultimate weapon. A single ray can burn their skin. Prolonged exposure reduces them to ash. Garlic. A simple bulb of garlic is said to repel them. Its pungent smell burns their senses. Holy symbols, crosses, holy water, even prayers can harm them. Some say it's because vampires are cursed, rejected by the divine. Wooden stakes, the most famous method. Drive a stake through their heart, and they'll never rise again. But vampires have strange weaknesses too. They are said to be bound by peculiar rules. They cannot enter a home unless invited, and they're obsessively meticulous. Scatter seeds outside your door, and they'll be compelled to count them, wasting precious hours until dawn. In modern times, vampires have transformed. From the hideous monsters of folklore, they've become seductive, complex characters in books, movies, and TV shows. Dracula, Anne Rice's vampires, even Twilight. But let's not forget their roots. Behind every charming vampire in fiction lies the shadow of the original myth, a creature of terror, cursed to roam the night, feeding on the lifeblood of the innocent. Even today, some believe in vampires. From strange sightings to unexplained disappearances, the legend refuses to fade. Could there be truth to these ancient tales? Or are they just reflections of our deepest fears? So, do vampires really exist? While science dismisses them as myths, their hold on our imagination remains unbroken. Whether they're real or not, vampires remind us of our fears, of death, darkness, and the unknown. And as long as we have those fears, the legend of vampires will never die. What do you think? Are vampires mere stories? Or could there be something more, lurking in the shadows? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time for more spine-chilling mysteries.